What's going on, team? How we doing out there? Let's get to the action. You guys know where you're at, of course. It's Start Swing Trade. Let's take a look at the action that's going on right now as we speak. And team, I will let you guys know I'm in some trades that I'm watching, and I got to keep an eye open for them towards the close here. And of course, going to be watching what? Nvidia, of course. Don't miss it, team. I'm going to stick around. As long as I can get certain amount of likes, I'm going to stick around to after the bell to the earnings come out. But I can't stick around too long because I do have a call at 4 that I got to get to. But hopefully they come out right after the bell here. We can catch the first reaction, and then you guys can go ahead and see the damage or maybe the lift that comes off of this report. And the only question I have today is would I take that trade? Nvidia short. We'll talk a little bit about it. Disney. It's been a battle all day. I got it to come down there towards the 94. Still hasn't really broken that 94 again. I even had a limit to kind of cover some out there. If we could go back to that spot, we're going to see what happens now. I am still up. You guys see it on Disney, up on XLE. Was thinking even about adding towards this XLE. But I'm going to wait till it gets towards my levels again. If it does, I can add and try to risk right above it. But looking for this to drop too. This went to 83.80s today. Let's see if it ends here around that level. In American, it's not necessarily that I'm in the red here, but it is pulling back. Overall, it has pulled back here towards kind of the 12 spot. I even had a stop out here at 11.97s. So just looking for this to continue working. But one thing I clearly see is the amount of volume that's gotten in the last 3 days. That tells me be aware that you could get another run. And so I will see what happens. I definitely don't want it to fill the gap and, stop me out. I don't have an insane amount of position in this one. I could add to it, maybe below 12s or close to 12s here. We'll see if it eventually makes the run back towards this 1272. But let's get to the other sides of things and let's take a look at other stocks and what happened today, what was hot and what was not. Let's go to my TC charts and see what I'm seeing here. And of course, I'll bring Benzinga Pro as we take a look at the earnings come in. And Nvidia started the day to the downside, now starting to work its way back to the downside. Now, this is where it gets hard, right? Do we come after Nvidia today? The only reason I don't want to go short is because I would be playing the hero, right? And what's the hero in trading? It's the guy that's just trying to make the biggest gain against the kind of the common trade, right? The common trade, at least in this case, is to maybe play Nvidia to the upside. The contrarian would be playing it to the downside and expecting this to ruin the market's momentum. Of course, we had a little bit of a slowdown today. Let's take a look at the Qs. You can see how we kind of going sideways here. And this opens up the avenue for Nvidia to maybe even beat or just destroy the Qs, especially if they get destroyed tonight. So I think this is what we need to be watching. Of course, Nvidia is going to be everything tonight, right? If how Nvidia goes, I expect the market to go tomorrow, right? If it comes up, well, I expect the market to open in the green tomorrow. And then if it comes down, well, these trades could be getting wrecked. The one trade that I was watching clearly today was Microsoft. Microsoft making that down move out the gates just showed me a little bit more that, yeah, we could be seeing a little bit of weakness come back. And it could just be pullbacks, right? Back down towards the 9 EMA. Will we actually make a pullback here? I mean, essentially, this stock has been running since early October and has already put in kind of like a 20% move. That's pretty good there on Microsoft. There's not many times where Microsoft runs that much, right? Even in this case where it ran from March to July, this was about like 40% at the top. So how much more do we have on this run? Something to think about, right? Let's take a look at different action in the market. Let's go to the sectors and the industries. You guys know I like to focus on that. Basic materials in the green today. Defensives in the green from the open. Everything else in the red, giving you that uncertainty in the market. And a lot of this, yeah, because there's uncertainty in the biggest report of the year, which is Nvidia. And what's leading the downside pullback? Well, none other than technology. So finally, we're seeing a little bit of a turnaround on the RSI. And you guys see it right here, how I had this historically high line and looking to see if we can break down below this 73. and start working our way back towards about 50. And that could be bring in a further retracement in some of these technology names. Do I feel like technology is broken overall? No, but can we get some pullbacks? Yeah, we're due for some type of pullback. That's why it's going to be making it very hard for Nvidia to push the stocks higher today. Is the, let's say, the institutional action, the big money on Nvidia going higher? I think so. I think so. And I think that's one thing that we need to be keeping our eyes open for, is that big money is essentially playing it to the upside, at least from what I can see. And you've seen it all around on different medias of how they're recommending Nvidia and even recommending other stocks that are near the top of their price action. So we'll see what happens here in Nvidia. Can it continue to push? Of course, I talked about the comparisons this morning, and that's also very important to catch. We'll see what happens with the comparison as the earnings comes out. As I get closer to the action where this report's going to come out, we're going to go into Benzinga Pro. We're going to take a look at the earnings estimates. What should we be looking for? What could surprise us? Demand comments are going to be so vital. How is the AI demand? Are they still seeing that same increase in drive that they saw at the beginning of the hype? All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at what else is making moves in the market. And if you guys have a big stock that you guys want to call out, feel free to throw it up in the chat here. All right, let's keep going. Let's get back to the action here. And of course, if you guys are catching some stocks that are moving, let me know. It's good to see you guys out there. Team Cheek, what's up out there? Smash that like. Long AMD in the long term from 99. Hope Nvidia don't ruin it. Well, I think at least you have enough room there in AMD that even if Nvidia ruins it, I think it could put it back closer towards 100. But I don't think it's going to go down more than that, let's say 20 points today. So your 99 might be fine there. Could it pull back maybe 14, 15%? Yeah, that's possible, right? One thing that I would be looking for in that AMD is for it to kind of come back here towards kind of, let's say the 110 area. That's kind of the area that I could see us kind of come into kind of in between here. In between these two spots right here, I could see it pulling back to off of a bad report. A good report could push it higher than this 130.53. And you guys remember, we were looking at AMD before their earnings. We actually created this on October 16th. Okay, where was the stock trading on October 16th? Well, let's take a look at that. On the 16th, it was just right here, and it was starting to pull back, right? Actually just one day off. That's the 17th, 16th right here. And I was wondering, will we get back to that trend line and get towards that box? Well, we went down back towards the support and then went to that box. That's how stocks go sometimes, right? So it wasn't a perfect outlook, but it eventually did go into this box. And now what's happening? A turnaround off of these levels. So that just means that we're having a little bit of pullback action, and it's kind of common, right? I mean, the stock went from the bottom there towards the top about 29, 30%, and now pulling back to the 9 EMA. We'll see what happens today. A good pull to like the 50 moving average, the exponential is right around 109.18, right around kind of that levels where I'm drawing it right here. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's get to other stocks out there. I appreciate that comment in the chat. Someone new that I caught there, EJ. It's good to see you out there. We'll see what happens there. ETN, we'll take a look at that one. And you guys keep throwing up those tickers. We'll see what happens. Eldon got into American Airlines a few days ago. Entry 1230, stop loss 12. Are you shorting it? I'm guessing. Just because. Oh no, you got in at 1230. Your risk is towards 12. I like it, Eldon. That's not bad. On American, and what I'm looking for is it to maybe fill the gap a little bit, but we'll see what happens on there. UAL has also been hot as of late. We can take a look at those industrial airline plays. So let's go really quickly into that space. Here's the industry outlook, and this is why I look at this, is because what is this? This is a clear kind of equally weighted index, and that's why I take a look at this all the time. And you can see the strength. And what do you see as of late? Sideways consolidation, and it followed another move higher, right? So sideways consolidation, and we're going to look to see if we get another move higher. We'll see what happens on that one. Definitely smash it up. And if you see here, guys, what if I look at it on the airlines and I see what was doing well today? Earlier, they were doing well. DAL, UAL, those are the ones that I'd be focusing on. The top three, right? UAL, DAL, AAL look interesting. We'll see if it does get into that gap zone. Be careful with like an undercut of 12 and then find out tonight a score. Of course, if it could continue on the direction. Industrials were pulling back today, but at least came back to break even. Look at this move lately. It's been a big move there in industrials. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at other names. Let's see what are we doing here. Healthcare has been a big move as of late. Now that's going into the green. That's definitely something to catch. What is doing well there? Well, Lilly is actually pulling back a little bit today. UNH having a decent day, so catching that. Johnson and Johnson getting a little bit of a bounce. A little bit of a mixed signal here in the healthcare space. Energy starting to cut down a little bit. I've been keeping my eye on the course WTI, and of course that's the front month for crude. Today we did go down for a little while and then spiked back into the 77s and 78s, close to that. We got a high on the day of 77.92 and a low on the day of 75.65. This is the outlook. Above 80s, XLE comes back. Oil names can come back. Below 72 into the low 70s and 60, like high 60s, that's when we really see that energy trade give up. And with that being mentioned, if those trades go back down to the lower 70s, the solar names will probably take a hit also. I did see some banks kind of upgrading solar names, and I'm like, man, do they not listen to what they've been telling you on the earnings reports? Because they haven't been good. These stocks have bounced a little bit, but in the long run, I don't trust these names one bit in solar. They're in the wrong space, at least I think. For solar, look at that move back, though. It has been bouncing back, and so they're chasing price, I think. But I think they got the sector and the industry completely wrong here. We'll find out. All right, let's keep going, guys. Basic materials doing interesting today, getting a little bit of a lift in silver, copper, coal, gold. So that's not looking too bad. What's on the downside? Aluminum and chemicals. Defensive areas, what's doing well there? Discount stores bouncing back. Did Walmart bounce back? Yeah, not too bad, about a 0.5. DG getting a little bit of a lift today. So that's continued on a nice little trend from the bottom, right? Kind of a rounding bottom, now trying to make a little bit of a cup and handle look. Doesn't look too bad here, especially if it can start to hold the pullback, especially down towards this level around 121.38, 121 overall. And look for that to keep going back towards this wick. This wick gives you a move towards 128.12s and doesn't look bad at all right now. Dollar Tree doing about the similar move. BJ's pulled back there. We'll see if these can stay hot. Costco overall finally finding a little bit of love as it bounced back today, and it had a recent quick pullback, right? I mean, it went from like 600 back down to 583s and could go right back to that 600, but you got to be careful in this type of market. Burlington was also one that was doing really well today, so we can take a look into the retail game. Let's go into that retail game as we go into the consumer cyclicals that were down today. But you see apparel stores higher. TJX still red on the day overall, trying to come back. Lulu with a nice little lift off. Ross Stores continuing in the strength, so that doesn't look too bad there. Burlington continuing the strength back towards 165s. What a move there in Burlington. We'll see what happens on this one. If it gets back towards resistance, I would give resistance around 176, 180, somewhere in between there. Definitely some resistance that you could run into. AEO actually up from the open, but man, did this get whack. And yesterday, what were we looking at? We were looking at ANF. Should I go shorting ANF? And man, that would have probably not worked out, because even though it did came back down, look where it's at now. It's up 5.48%, almost making a double and triple top outlook here. So this doesn't look bad to eventually pull back, but man, what a stock, man. Came down fast with that American Eagle report late in the day, late in the pre-market, and then came back all the way up here towards this kind of 74, 75 outlook. A little part of me is thinking about getting short this, because this is just too much for ANF. Let's just be honest. Abercrombie and Fitch, I don't think it's going to be the next trend that's coming back. You are seeing some people kind of picking up that trend again. But I mean, at least from what I saw, the heyday was back when I was in high school. and it's just not it anymore. But they're doing really well. Urban's coming back a little bit today. We'll see what happens with these. VSCO, of course, Victoria's Secret. I've talked about this multiple times and then how this stock keeps running. And this is one of those stocks that could do well in the holiday period. We'll see what happens on that. Keeping an eye on Disney, of course, to see what happens with my trade there. That's kind of just hanging in there right now. We'll see what happens here towards the end, and we could see Nvidia kind of take a nice little lift here. That's why I'm not just shorting it right now. A little part of me wants to, man, but I'd be playing the hero. I'd just be honest, guys. If I do take a trade on Nvidia to the short side and take it here, I'd have to take it with such a small amount to give me the room to run. That really wouldn't give me the reward probably that I'd be looking for on the downside. So at this point, I'm just leaving it alone. All right, let's catch up with you guys in the chat. We'll keep going through different stocks. If you guys have anything you guys want to talk about, keep rolling them. Thoughts on Tesla? Tesla. I'm leaving Tesla alone right now, guys. The big thing is that I do feel it's negative towards the end of towards next year. But right now, we do have the Cybertruck that will be coming out next week. This is why I would not step in front of Tesla here. At this point, you got to be careful because whenever there's a catalyst for Tesla, this is how those Tesla bulls love to take a stock that people could be viewing on it negatively because of political issues. And then all of a sudden, fundamental things come up like a brand new product and things like that, or the story or the hype could come with that event. And next thing you know, Tesla's ripping to the upside and has some people scratching their heads. NVDS is one way to play it. And I agree, Gio. That's one way we could take a look into it. I've tried to play that one before, the NVDS, and I get stopped out a lot of the times on that one. So we'll see what happens. Are you covering the Nvidia earnings? I'm waiting for it. Biggest earnings of the report, right? The biggest earnings report this year. So definitely stay tuned for that, guys. We can take a look at the action also. Let's go ahead. Let's bring up Benzinga Pro. Let's take a look at the action in Nvidia and what we should be looking for. Of course, you guys can do this with Benzinga Pro. If you guys don't have it, definitely go ahead and download it. Get on to pro.benzinga.com. Get your 2-week trial right now. Let's take a look at the earnings and what we can expect to be coming, right? Of course, one of the things that I like to do is I like to take out a lot of this action here. So just give me 1 second to kind of clean this up a little bit. Let me take off the unconfirmed and confirmed date. This is the way I would set it up, team. So I want to give you guys the insight on that. If you guys want to set it up like this, feel free to, right? On the surprise EPS, I take that off because to tell you the truth, I only need to see the estimates. I don't need to see the percentages. That's not really going to give me a little bit of a lift because I understand what's going on and what I'm seeing. So there you go. We'll make it a little bit easier. And what does this allow me to do is focus in, right? So we're expected to jump here. And let's go ahead. Let's organize this up here. We're expected to jump here towards $3.36 from an estimate prior quarter being 209, right? The EPS last time came in at 270 versus a 209 estimate. And if we look at the prior year, it was just slightly off on that EPS. You were actually a miss here on the EPS last year in this same quarter. So that's one thing that's a little bit scary for me. If I was a bull in Nvidia, that wasn't a good report last year in this same time, 11, 16, and 22. And now we're at, of course, the 21st. So we'll see what happens with that EPS. Could they miss on EPS there? That's something to keep an eye out for. And then the revenues are so expected to jump all the way to 16 billion. If for any reason they miss there, I think it's going to be a big hit to the downside. All things that we need to be watching for when this hits the tape, right? Nvidia's earnings will be shaking things up. Another thing that I wanted to point to was the analyst ratings. And look at all the action lately, even reiterating a buy here, Stifle, and putting a $600 price tag, a $750 raised by KeyBank. This is why I've said that big money is in Nvidia and trying to make the money, because the analysts are giving you that push. The analysts are pretty much trying to lift this stock by giving price targets that high. What does that do? That gives investors the mentality that, yeah, Nvidia could go to 750. but we're down to 500. Do we really see that happening in, let's say, less than a year? I don't think so, team. I don't think I see Nvidia going to 750 unless it just becomes the best company in the world to own and you shouldn't own anything else. That's the way I view it. But of course, I could be wrong here. And who knows? Maybe Nvidia is just that good in AI. It's not that I don't believe in AI. I just think they'll come in waves. We got the first wave, which was these big language products, right? Chat GPT, Claude from Anthropic. Products like this, right, bring the first wave. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is just going to kill it in making money in AI. Now, why Nvidia could do better, of course, is that people need to build into AI, right? It's not something that you just wake up tomorrow and next thing you know, you have 1,000 products out. No, the truth is you need to build on AI. And how do you build on AI? You're probably going to need certain graphics, right? Certain graphics card to go ahead and take it to that next letter, have that computing power. That's where Nvidia comes in and plays towards that demand. But is that demand going to stay high enough to keep kicking these estimates, pretty much kicking their ass, right? Let's just be honest. And they have been kicking ass and taking names. Now, the only thing is, can they continue with their outlook? Their guidance is very high looking forward. And a lot of people on Wall Street are now saying that their multiple makes sense due to the revenue growth that they're having. And when these are the same people that 3 months or 4 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, were saying that Nvidia was 3x what it should be valued at on a multiple, that's why I'm a little bit concerned here. Are we getting a little bit too hyped in Nvidia? We'll find out in just couple seconds here. Let's take a look here, guys. All right, there's the reports coming in here. We're going to take a look there. There's the action through 502. I still haven't taken a trade on it. I want to take a look at it here. I want to see the first report come in, and we could get a little bit of a up move followed by a down move. So I'm taking a look at it right now. I still have yet to see the report come in here. Do I take the shot, guys? Do I take the shot? All right, let's go ahead. Let's get you over here to my other charts. I'm about to hop here in just about a minute or two, as I do have an appointment that I got to get to, but stick around, team. Let's see what we're getting right now. Nvidia is getting a little bit of a spike. It went up there to 502. I don't think the earnings are out just yet, so I'm keeping an eye open for them as they hit the tape. If you guys see anything, please let me know, and I will do the same right here. I'm looking to see this action come in here, and it's going to be something that could definitely shake things up. And the expected move is a pretty big move. I think it's up there towards 30, 40 points. So this could move to like maybe even 550s today. I'm going to give it a chance here to spike first and then probably come into it, but I still haven't gotten the numbers, right? So if I don't have the numbers or anything to go off of, the only thing I can go off of is the price action. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, up and down, up and down. And that's what you're going to see the action right now is a lot of up and down. So be careful, guys. Trading this move right now is probably only, I would say, to the highest level traders, right? Because the action is going to move so fast, it's going to be very hard to follow here. Still don't have anything on this report, so I'm looking to see what happens here. Conference call is scheduled all the way until 5 p.m., guys, so stay tuned that you could see a downside action move, and then with that conference call, it starts to work its way back. We'll find out what happens here on Nvidia. Still waiting to get some kind of numbers here. If anybody got some numbers, let me know out there. 1.2 trillion market cap valuation for 50 billion in sales. Overvalued? Nah. I hear you, John, out there. I can't blame you. GPU cards is a very small part of AI solutions. I agree with you, John. But some people want to value that like it's gold. And the truth is, the only thing that tells us is a price action here. We'll see what happens there, guys. Oh, a little part of me just wants to get short, guys. I just can't do it, guys. It just goes against my rules of real trading, right? Like if this was just like lotto money, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, let's go for it, guys. It's just lotto money, right? But the truth is, I don't like playing things that I can't repeat, right? I like a repeatable process. And I don't want to show you guys the absolute wrong way I think trading should be like. So we'll see what happens here. All right, guys, seeing that first action goes to 499, right back up to 501. Still not getting the report to come in here. So I'm going to have to wrap it up as I got a call that I got to get to, guys. Like always, guys, we'll be covering this on pre-market prep tomorrow morning. So if you guys want to catch every action that goes there, definitely let me know. And what I will do, guys, is I'm going to be watching this report maybe towards the actual conference call. I can come back at 5 p.m. Stay tuned for that. Like always, you guys can keep up with my Twitter at MoneyMitchBZ. I got to get over to a meeting here, guys. They're already ringing me. They're like, "Yo, Mitch, where you at? We need you." All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up here, team. I wanted to give you guys the numbers. I thought they'd be out by now. I don't see the numbers out yet, so be careful out there, traders. We'll find out what happens in Nvidia. And like always, stay safe out there. And like today, I'm not playing the hero. Like always, guys, be careful playing the hero trader. What is that trader? The trader that just wants to put something out on Twitter, right? Let's just be honest. That's not what we're here for. Repeatable processed approach is what I want to be about. And of course, I'm going to be watching my positions to see what happens with Nvidia, because if Nvidia rips higher, maybe some of these shorts have to go. I'll see you guys in the morning. Stay safe out there. Always keep up with all the action with pro.benzinga.com, of course.